Welcome back to Workshop Friend. Well, today is one of those rare occasions where I'm actually producing something for outside the workshop, something useful. And today it's going to be based on turning rubber. I haven't really done much of this. I've made a little start yesterday and today. And what precipitated this was the need to repair this rather antiquated carpet sweeper. It's much beloved in our household, and I thought I'd have a go at repairing it. All that was wrong with it was that the tyres had perished. They were rubber tyres and they'd perished. I thought I'd have a go at making some replacement rubber tyres. The other thing, which happened at the same time coincidentally, related somewhat, is the tyres for one of my suitcases. I get through suitcases quite a lot actually. They suffer rough treatment in airports, and one of the things that often goes wrong is the rubber tyres on the wheel. So I thought at the same time I'd have a go at making one of those. So let's take a closer look at what happened to the tyre on the suitcase. So this is the remnants of it. I had a go at gluing it on, that just didn't work. And this is the new rubber tyre that I've just made. This is the tyre from the carpet sweeper. You can see it's almost completely disintegrated. And this is the new rubber tyre fitted. So I did all this off camera because there's a fair bit of experimentation, but having produced one of each, I thought I would go ahead and produce another tyre and show you the process that I've used. So the material I'm using is this neoprene sheet, 10mm thick. I bought it online. I think it cost around about £10 or about $15, including postage. It's fairly close to the soft end of the range. I can't remember the actual hardness, but it's fairly soft, possibly too soft actually on reflection. And it's 150mm by 150mm, and that's what's that? So that's yeah, about 6 inches by 6 inches, and that will give me enough material to make 5 of these larger tyres. So that's 1 to experiment with and 4 that I actually need. And from the center of the tyre, I've got enough material to make 4 of these smaller tyres as well. So the way I held the work was by facing off a piece of aluminium bar and then Loctiting it, no, not Loctiting it, supergluing it to that face, that machine face. And that was more than adequate for holding the work, both for simple sort of facing operations and annular cutting and turning the outside diameter. So let's go over to the lathe and have a look at the setup. I'm just cleaning up the surface here. Bits of rubber and super glue stuck to it. We'll just give that a light skin before we attach the new piece of rubber. So fortunately you've got the center, the mark there from the scriber, or the divider, so we can use that to center this. And what I found works is just to push that in like that, get it located, and then back off, and then just put a spreader in there just to hold it on firmly, and just distribute the load. And what we'll do is just leave that for a while. So while we're waiting for the glue to cure, this is the cutting tool. I did toy with using a Stanley blade type setup, but the problem there was how to hold the blade. So I finally just came up with grinding a piece of high-speed steel and making a nice thin blade. It's got a little bit of clearance on the outer edge here, so that as we do the annular cut it doesn't rub too much. It's not actually parallel. I didn't make it parallel because I wanted it to be thin at the end, but have a bit of strength back here. And this setup seems to be fine. It seems that as you start to cut the rubber, it deforms and moves around the outside of the thicker part of the tool fine. The only thing I've done is make sure I've got a nice sharp edge on the end there, and a little bit of rake there, not a lot really. But the surprising thing is that rubber really abrades the tool, and it's surprising how quickly this wears. I'd say it wears more quickly than cutting mild steel. So there you are, that's interesting. I don't know if it's because the neoprene has got some additives in there or some other material which is abrasive, but anyway, that's what I found. So I've just quickly reground this, and when this is cured we'll have a go at cutting the outer radius and then the inner radius and then facing it to the correct thickness. Well, this is now in fact a day later. Interesting, I found this happened last time too. There was no glue on this pad, but it seems to stick to the neoprene sheet, and I had to actually lever it off. Don't know why that is. Seems maybe the neoprene's slightly sticky and it is a little bit adhesive. Oh, there we are. That wasn't very good, was it? Slightly over on diameter. So the way I've been sizing the tyres is the outside diameter and then the thickness. That's a little too thick. I'll cut it at that diameter and then try and take a little bit off the inside afterwards. Okay, the last operation is just to reduce the thickness slightly. Just maybe, I don't know, 10-15 thou off that thickness. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a lot of difference in terms of fitting the tyre, I found. That's it. I think we can cut that off now. I have to admit, this part of the operation's a bit hit and miss. If I had more material, I probably would try and part it off, which I think would be far more repeatable. But I haven't got a lot of excess material to do that with. Well, I've now completed all 4 tyres, and the first 3 I made in the way that I showed you, but the final one, instead of trying to break the adhesive, I actually parted it off, and that came up with a much better result, as you can see here. Now the fit is good. This neoprene rubber is nice and stretchy, and it's tougher than it looks actually. I wondered if it was going to be a bit on the fragile side, but yeah, it's pretty resilient by the look of it. The other thing you can see here is that it's a nice fit on the diameter, so you've got that holding the tyre on so it won't slip, but also it's a nice fit between the rim here, and in fact I have to sort of push it in with a screwdriver to get it to seat in the corner there. I'll finish that off camera. Takes a little while to go round and get that to fully seat, but I'm not absolutely sure about the correct diameter because the old tyres were so worn, degraded, that I hadn't really much to measure off. I'm going to find out when I reassemble the old carpet sweeper, and then I can find out the exact diameter that's required to get the right fit on this wheel here. If necessary, I can whip these back in the lathe and just skim a bit more off the diameter. So as well as that, I've got the new tyre for the suitcase, and it doesn't look very elegant, but I think this will work. What's really important, I think, is that the tyre is in the centre of the wheel so that the caster effect works properly. With the old tyre, it began to wear, and then I think the wheel was continually cocked to one side, and that caused it to wear even further. So I hope this is going to be a little repair for the suitcase. I've made a new spindle. The old one was riveted in a fair. That failed. So we'll see. Come back to you when this is reassembled. Well, the carpet sweeper's gone together nicely. These tyres are exactly what's needed. I think that's added a few years of life to this whole device. Now, of course, the video has not really been about the carpet sweeper. It's been about turning neoprene rubber, and I think I've gained a bit of useful experience. I feel this is a material that I can add to my materials list for projects in the future. It's really not as difficult as I thought to turn rubber, both outside diameters and inside diameters. So maybe you'll consider this is an option for your workshop too. Thanks for joining me. I hope you'll join me next video.